Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining wherever you're joining from. Sorry the map didn't work today. I don't know what was going on with that. The map is empty. I don't know why. I tried rebooting it. That didn't work. Uh, so let's see who we've got in the chat and who is joining us today. And Blanco from Merida. I did reboot it. We've got Poland, Ireland, UK, Hugelhoven, Spokane Valley, Bangkok, Sweden, Peru, Edinburgh. Yeah, well, thank you all for joining. Don't know what's going on with the map. I will try to fix it before next week. But nice to see everybody in the chat. I'm back home in Portland and got back last week, Tuesday, I guess. A very long day of flights back. I did not have good flights because I booked it on points. So I had to go from Amsterdam to Dallas to Seattle to Portland. So not a great route. And it took, I think, actually 24 hours after when it was all said and done, from the time I left the hotel to the time I got back home. Long day. So yes, but I made it, and I think I'm back on local time, so that's good. But yeah, anyway, what is the plan for today? So today I want to talk about some of the new things that I saw at IBC and do a demo of some of them, and some of them are actually live. For example, the Blackmagic Camera app is publicly available. You can download it right now and we can try it out, take a look at it. There's a couple of really cool things about it that were not part of the main announcement, but yeah. And hopefully you got the chance to see last week's live stream, which we did at the just ever so slightly earlier than the normal time of the scheduled stream. It was 7 o'clock in Amsterdam, and we got on a bunch of bicycles with Photo Joseph and Frank from YoloLive and rode around the city, which was a lot of fun. Only a minor incident in the middle there, but hopefully the guy is okay. Go back and watch that stream if you're curious. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. The bike ride was good. Learned a couple of things about doing that. I think I want to, hopefully I can go to IBC again next year. 1. 2, hopefully I can do another live stream on bicycles again next year, because that was a lot of fun. And I think couple of things to take away from that. I kind of put it together at the very last minute, so I actually didn't bring most of my own rigging stuff, like clamps and things. So I was scouring the show floor for like straps, little zip ties, like, or Velcro straps that some of the booths were just giving away as like branded merch. I grabbed a couple of those. I got a nice, where did it go? It's somewhere else now. Nice clamp from one of the booths. Nitsy, I think, was the name. So they gave me a nice clamp that I used for the OBSBot, and then I borrowed the OBSBot and Axoon transmitters from those booths. So that was great. So next time I'll just bring my own extra cameras and stuff. And the OBSBot camera worked very well on the handlebars. However, it doesn't like bumps. And when we were going over a lot of the bumpy, rocky, like brick streets, on like the bike paths, it was fine when it was smooth pavement. But every now and then there was like a patch of bricks, and going over the bricks, it was like bouncing up and down. And the camera doesn't do well with that, especially once it starts getting dark. So not really surprised. OBSBot is not marketed as a action camera. So next time, either I need to like suspend that camera or use an actual action camera that can do that kind of stabilization. So that was 1. 2, we should probably do it earlier in the day because the sun was going down during the bike ride. So it was getting darker and darker. And the OBSBot camera, again, it's like it's not made for nighttime filming, which essentially is what that was. So it started getting a little bit not so good of a picture by the end of the stream, but it was but it held up pretty well despite that. The other thing I will say is those upright style bikes, that made it a lot. I knew that was a lot more stable than like the kind we normally have like road bikes in the US. So I was hand holding the wireless camera the whole time on a little tripod stick. Do not recommend that. Even though those bikes are a lot more stable and it's like a lot easier to, also we're not going fast, but definitely I want to, definitely I will try to actually mount 2 cameras to the bike so I have hands free. I would like to be able to hold both handlebars or one handlebar and poke the comments on the YoloBox. So a couple things I'm gonna do differently next time and hopefully get a chance to do it because that was a lot of fun. It was definitely a good road test for some of the announced products at IBC. Yeah. Maybe I can actually plan it ahead of time enough to still get some new of the products on loan, but actually plan it and not have to be scrambling at the booths to to ask for a favor. Christopher catching it live for the first time in a while. Well, thanks for joining. Cool. Okay, so Tilta for camera mounts next year, says MT. Yeah, maybe. So IT never gets old. Let's start talking about some of the gear. Did I look at the Magewell YoloBox competitor? Any thoughts? Yeah, let me see if I can pull up the webpage so we know what we're talking about here. The Magewell Director Mini. This was something they had hinted at NAB and didn't actually have it at NAB, but then they brought it to IBC and they had it on the show floor and it was running. They were demoing it and actually using it, and we were able to try it out. I did not film a interview with them, so that's why I haven't posted the video about it yet, but I did film a bunch of B-roll of using it because I was really curious about what it's like to actually use it and poke around. I wish this thing would stop moving. That's really distracting. Okay. So it is small. It's kind of like it's like the 5-inch monitor size. It's very small. So that's both good and bad. You can kind of see the scale of it by the size of the HDMI ports on the side. Yeah, there's a picture. So it's just big enough for 2 HDMI and 1 USB on the side. So it's not very big. It is an Android device. So it is running Android just like the YoloBox, where they've got their own custom app. You can't they've actually locked it down more than the YoloBox even. So there's no way to sideload apps. There's no breakout to a browser kind of hacks or anything. Like it's very, very locked down to just running. It's just an Android operating system. They're running their app on it. So the only time that you can actually even tell it's Android is when you go to set up the Wi-Fi or change some of those kind of system settings. You'll recognize the Android menu. But it does have a couple of cool things that the YoloBox doesn't do. However, it's also missing some things that the YoloBox does do. And this is how it always goes with these. Is there's always going to be trade-offs. So the 1080, not 4K, also, which is again fine, what we expect. But it does support SRT. It also supports NDI, and more interestingly to me is that so it has 2 HDMI ins. And this is what I got, like a video of setting up, which is, maybe I can find the video on the SD card over there, but I haven't even edited the video yet. The interesting thing is that you can actually do simultaneous streaming. So YoloBox has simultaneous streaming, which is how we were doing the bike ride. I was streaming from the YoloBox to their multi-streaming service to my channel, Photo Joseph, and Yolo Live's channel. So 3 broadcasts. However, this Magewell device, one of the really cool things that it does is it'll let you stream from the box to multiple sources, like multiple SRT destinations, but it's not just the program feed. So one of the cool things is you can take HDMI 1 send that to an SRT destination. You can take HDMI 2, send that to a different SRT destination, and then still be like switching on the program locally for recording or just monitoring. So one of the uses they were suggesting of that is you take 2 cameras out in the field, send 2 feeds back to a studio. In the studio, you can actually push the program feed from the studio remotely back into the box so that you can see it. So it's like a monitor, remote monitor that shows what's on the main broadcast, and then it's sending 2 ISO feeds from cameras over SRT. So it's 3 SRT feeds in total, 2 going out, 1 coming in. Very cool. That is not something the YoloBox can do, and I don't expect that they would add that because that's not really their market, their target market for it. But that was a really cool thing to see. So neat feature. I am hopefully going to get one to try it out. I don't know when that's going to happen or what the details of that will be, but I would love to try that feature because that sounds extremely cool. So this box is trying to multi-stream with all that data transmission on wireless connection. Yeah, and it can. Let's see, what were they saying about wireless? So it does have an Ethernet port, so you can wire it in. Which obviously, if you have the ability to wire it in, it's always going to be better than a wireless experience. But it does do Wi-Fi, and it does tethering as well, or bonding, I guess. But now I don't see that mentioned in their specs. So I don't remember the details of how many things you can plug into it. One of the other features that it has is actually proper support for iPhones as a wireless camera. So the you can pull up they have like an iPhone app, and then you can use that as a wireless camera. So they were showing that on the floor as well, and it worked really well. So with the YoloBox, you can kind of do it with the remote guest feature. It doesn't really work with audio, and it's kind of not the best experience on the phone side just because it is in a browser, and the browser is not quite sized right for a phone. But with this, it's like native, which is really cool. So very cool to see that. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting things you can do with this. Hopefully we'll get a chance to try it out. I'm really curious if you're able to adjust buffers on all the new SRT implementations. I know people love the low latency, but I prefer more buffer for more reliability. Yeah, it's a great point. That is a very good point. I don't know. And we're going to have to check that out in the web presenter to see if there's a setting for it. But LA12 Livestream says, Magewell arrives with me Wednesday. Ooh, you already bought it. Well, look at that. How it seemed more pricey than the YoloBox. Is that correct? I think so. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, one of the other things that I liked about it is, oh yeah, okay, here it is. $12.99, which I think is the price, the old price of the YoloBox Pro, and then they dropped the price of the Pro. So it is more expensive. It is more expensive than the YoloBox. Let me drop this link in the chat. This is the Magewell Director Mini. And on B&H, I don't know who else is stocking it right now, but yeah, definitely a cool thing. Definitely a cool thing. More buffer means more memory, which will increase the price point. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Not sure they'll give a huge buffer size. Michael says, most SRT I've used support up to 7 seconds of buffer, and that's great for wireless and bonded solutions. Yeah. How heavy is it compared to the YoloBox? Oh, good question. I don't remember. I don't really remember. It felt, I guess, similar. Let's see if they have any specs. They probably have specs. Dimensions. no wait. No wait listed here. Yeah, I don't know. It felt similar. I would say it's probably maybe a little bit heavier, definitely heavier than the Mini, I would say. I don't know how it compares to the Pro. Proprietary OS and more expensive. Well, it is based on Android, but it is their own Android thing. So it's not like it's not like Blackmagic where Blackmagic made their OS for their cameras and stuff, but it is based on Android. We were chatting about, Bill says, we were chatting before the start about the streaming bridges in the Blackmagic TV Studio HD, likely getting SRT in. It would be great to feed several SRT feeds from the Magewell Director into it. Yeah, that is very cool. So speaking of, I know this was a lot of people's questions, and this was one of the first questions I had. Here's the question from earlier. So Blackmagic could bring SRT to the web presenter and ATEM streaming bridge, but then the TV Studio HD8 was sold as having 8 streaming bridges in it. Will it get SRT as well? Part 1. And will they be able to send and receive SRT from any device or just from another Blackmagic device? So, okay. I had a long conversation with people at the Blackmagic booth about this, because this is one of the nice things about the shows is that you get to go and meet the people at the companies, and a lot of the companies will actually send product managers and not just marketing people, right? So that, like, people who are actually involved in deciding what the products will do. And I did in fact get to meet the product manager of the ATEM line and shared some feedback with him, which hopefully they will take into consideration. I was also able to talk with the people who worked on the SRT implementation, and they were strangely much more forthcoming with answering questions than I was expecting. I was expecting them to be very only say what is officially announced and not mention anything about future plans. They did hint at some things. They were not willing to commit to anything in the future, but they did hint at things. Based on these conversations, are Blackmagic planning on bringing SRT to the other products? It looks like very likely yes. It looks like it will probably happen that the ATEM Mini lines will get SRT just like the web presenter has. And it is also very likely that the HD8 ISO will support SRT in. Again, they weren't actually committing to do it. It was not official commitment to it, but they suggested that was very likely in the plans. So I am going to hold my breath for that. I believe it is coming. I believe that they are actually going to do it. So obviously don't make any purchasing decisions based on the future hypothetical where that exists, but keep an eye out in case it comes out in a firmware update. So yeah, very cool. So part 2 of the question is, will it support SRT feeds from things that are not Blackmagic products? This was something that I talked with them a lot about. And I got a little bit of history in that, which is the streaming bridge came out in 2020. And that was like the height of the pandemic. Everything was just shutting down. Everyone was scrambling to come up with solutions for remote and virtual productions. At the time, the priority for that product launch was make this work with ATEMs. We want a solution people can use that will work. You buy an ATEM Mini, you buy a web present or a streaming bridge, and they work. You get the camera control remote, you get the video feed, all that. That was the priority for the product launch. Does that mean that they intentionally made it reject feeds that were not from an ATEM? Kind of, because that was not they didn't want to do the work to make sure that it was going to work with everything else. Maybe it involves some, cutting some corners here and there to get it to ship faster. If you just think about it from the perspective of, we need to get this product out, it has to work with the ATEM Minis, then what are you going to do to make sure that can be done as fast as possible? And then you kind of see how it falls out that it only works with Blackmagic products. So that is in the hardware. Like the decoder for the video stream is in the streaming bridge hardware. SRT is not a different video codec. It's a transport protocol. It's like a container. So it's like you can send a letter in an envelope or in a padded envelope or in a box. You can put the same thing in the box or in the envelope and it'll get to the destination, right? So that's like SRT and RTMP. It's two different ways of sending the same data, but the data itself is the same over SRT. So they're taking the MPEG stream, the MP4 H.264 stream, and shoving it into an SRT container over the network to the streaming bridge to receive it. So does that mean that the SRT decoder is also locked to Blackmagic products? Well, sort of, because they've only really made that decoder chip work with the exact thing that the ATEM Mini sends. So if you can send something that looks exactly the same as the ATEM Mini creates, it will probably work with the streaming bridge. And that's not a supported use case, but it will probably work. So again, they're not promising that it will work with non-Blackmagic hardware, but it very well might, because if you can make the encoder look the same as an ATEM Mini. On the other hand, some of those decisions ended up in hardware and can't really be changed. So they can't necessarily ship a firmware update that's going to suddenly open it up to other video formats. So the answer on that is basically, I would not, for example, assume that in the future, a streaming bridge will accept arbitrary SRT feeds. However, you might be able to get it to work anyway. So that will take some more testing. I will try to do some testing with other products to see what it takes and which ones work with it, because I do have a streaming bridge here that I got a long time ago. And we'll see how that goes. So that is the complicated explanation for that. So let's see what we've got in the chat. Eric says, Blackmagic ATEM product engineers at least know SRT is a good thing. Yes, they do. SRT and the ATEM Minis would be awesome. I agree. It would be awesome. Michael says, so happy to see SRT finally starting to go mainstream. Yep. Taekwondo also heard similar, no promises. Mini integration with SRT would be huge. Nils says it works with OBS, which is already great. Yes, I know we've seen some people do some tests already that you can, in fact, stream an SRT feed from OBS into a streaming bridge. Again, not officially supported, but as long as you configure OBS to do the H.264 encoding in the right way, it will probably work. Do I still have the Pearl Nano to test SRT to these devices with? That platform has been a big forerunner for SRT. I do. It is, in fact, still sitting down there in the rack. However, I leave it turned off because it's a little bit noisier than everything else in the rack. So I will test that one for sure. I'll try to do a test of as many different things as I can get to send SRT into the streaming bridge and see how it goes. Graham says, I'd love SRT input into the ATEM as that would simplify connection from one of my cameras. Well, it's not going to be into all ATEMs. It'll just be the TV Studio HD8 ISO, the big table one that I had in here for a couple weeks. Taekwondo says, I'm testing out SRT on my web presenter and streaming bridge as we speak. Cool. Yeah, I did a little test before this stream, actually, and it was, in fact, extremely easy to get my web presenter to send an SRT stream to the streaming bridge. So, yeah. SRT plus ChaosNet router torture test. Absolutely. I am going to get back to that project finally now that I have space to work in here again. So I still have the pile of switches and knobs and things for that project in here. My next step on that is measuring out all the cutouts for them. So I need to actually know like the exact dimensions of that thing to punch a hole through it. I need to know, here's a little rotary switch. I need to know exactly where that's going to go. And then hopefully laser cut a panel out of some wood. So that's popping up on the queue now. Jonas says, big difference on the SRT implementation is the LIUFT. What is that? Of the check for a specific encoder name. Oh, yes. The way that they blocked RTMP encoders was that the encoder first sends the name of itself to the destination over RTMP, and they made it look for the word like Blackmagic ATEM or whatever it was. And if you recompile OBS to send that in the connection, then it worked with the streaming bridge. So not exactly a practical solution, but it did work. But SRT doesn't have the same like negotiation. So as long as you match the format that it expects of the video itself, it works. Looks like Jonas has done some testing. Initial test show it does work with the Pearl on the correct profiles. Excellent. Oh, lift. There we go. I do have to agree with you that the access to the Blackmagic team we had at IBC was quite amazing and surprising. Yeah, I was really surprised. And their willingness to actually talk about more than just officially released things. So, yeah. Web presenter always a mysterious buffer filling up issues that I still haven't heard is actually fixed. Be curious if you had that and if SRT fixes it. I will also be curious if it happens with SRT as well. Okay, let me scroll back up. Oh, quick reminder, if you have a question, it's going to be easier for me to see it if you start your message with the letter Q. And then it goes into my little questions column. So otherwise, I'm going to have to scroll through the chats, and sometimes I get lost in there. Ah, yes, back on the Magewell. I don't remember if the Magewell had a web UI or not. Yes, that was another really cool thing. So the Magewell Director Mini, I'm very happy to see that it did actually have a web UI. And the web UI actually looked very, very similar to the Magewell Pro Convert, because they all... Oh, that's the wrong keyboard. One of my keyboards has a thumbprint, one does not. There we go. The web UI for the Magewell Pro Convert looks like this, and it turns out this is the same framework, web UI framework they use for all of their devices. So when you go into the Magewell Director Mini's IP address and log in, you get a video interface that looks very similar to this, and you can actually control an awful lot of stuff. I don't remember if it's literally everything, but almost everything you can control over the web UI, which is very, very, very cool. And again, this is something I keep pushing YoloLive on, is they really need to add some form of external control to the YoloBox. And I keep recommending an API so that people can just write integrations for it. OSC would be great. For example, at least that's a standard. You can send that OSC commands from Companion or whatever. So they really need to do that because people like it and they don't understand why people like it. So, because they're seeing people use the YoloBox in like 1 or 2 cameras on a tripod in a church or at a side of a sport arena hall or whatever, and they just don't get it. So the more people that ask for it, the better. So please ask YoloLive for remote control. But in the meantime, the Magewell already has a web interface and has an API, so you can do cool stuff with it. Yeah. IT Never Gets Old says, with a small screen, I bet it is even harder to switch the show or control graphics in the YoloBox. This is a very good point. It is a very small screen. It is, it's a small screen. The touch targets are quite small. And like any touchscreen device, it is less pleasant to use it than physical buttons, which is, again, why the remote control option is so important. So you can like pull up the web interface on a computer and control it all externally if you want with the Magewell. So at least there's that. Remote switching would be god tier, yes. Magewell has a web UI and API and remote control through their hub and doesn't even need a public IP. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they have a whole Magewell like cloud thingy where all the devices can go and connect to their control hub, I guess. That's a good name for it. I don't remember what they actually call it. Probably cloud. And so you don't even need to type in the IP address of your thing. You can just go to their cloud and control everything remotely, which is great. Control Hub is the name of it. Magewell Control Hub. So it's the same idea. Like you log in, and then you can find all your devices and load up their web UIs. So it's very neat. The hub is self-hosted and one-time cost. Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was actually their cloud, but that's cool. Touch targets and switching is show live on a 7-inch touchscreen. It's more like 5 inches. It's really small. It's tiny. What are you doing? Says, I was driving home when you were talking about the bike stream and a handheld camera. A ring mounted to the bike that the tripod handle could slip into so you can quickly grab or twist when you want to. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I should try to get a proper bike rig going for that. It would be nice to be able to drop a camera in and take it out. But when it's in there, it needs to be like locked in so that I can use it as like a fixed camera too. There were some other comments about the bike earlier. Where did I see those? Oh, a bar beer bike. Oh, Nils suggested that I get a tandem with Photo Justice. That'd be kind of fun. It would be a hands-free bike ride. That would be very cool. But one of the nice things about those bikes that we used was they were just like the city bike rentals. So we didn't have to like go to a bike store to get them. And we checked them out at the convention center and then dropped them off in the center of the city. So that was nice to not have to do like a round trip. Eric says, I'm going to take over David's job and say 96 people watching, but only 13 likes. Don't forget to like. Excellent reminder. Thank you for the reminder. Okay. Oh, Bill says, also vMix announced Zoom integration at IBC and it already has 4 SRT. So we can now go Zoom to vMix, then SRT to Blackmagic, so we can bring multiple Zoom feeds into Blackmagic. Would that work? Oh, interesting. Oh, Taekwondo has some ideas. Why not use vMix to switch Zoom calls and bring one output? Yeah. One SRT would be good, but might need more. Would use the 4 SDI outputs and then map a Zoom input to the output in vMix, then switch them on your ATEM. Yeah, I think you might be able to get away with not going through SRT for that. Depending on your vMix machine, though. ClearLife Media says, can you stream to a streaming bridge and also use the hard outs like SDI? I have an Ursa, and it would be great to have streaming bridge as a backup if we lose a cable. Oh, that's a good idea. I'm pretty sure, yeah. I don't have the Ursa camera, but I'm pretty sure that it doesn't disable the physical outputs of the camera when you're streaming. So, um, yeah, that's should work. Yeah, should work. I don't see any reason why not. Does the YoloBox have shortcuts via keyboard? Then you can develop hardware that emulates a keyboard and control the YoloBox. It doesn't, and that was one of the suggestions that they were talking about, of like using a keyboard, like an actual keyboard over USB, and I don't think that's a good option. And the reason is because um, I think that it's more than just having a local wired control pad. It's like being able to do it entirely remotely from a different physical location. That's great. Being able to do it wirelessly within a room is also great. And neither of those work with that kind of keyboard option. Oh, Jonas says vMix also has 4 external outputs now, so you can do 4 decklink outputs, also announced to IBC. Yes, exactly. So grab a decklink card with 4 physical outs, and then tell vMix to pull your Zoom participants and send them out that way. Yeah. Nils is reminding me about the secret code. So, okay, I have not hidden the secret code in this stream. I'm going to have to do that next time, unless I scramble to figure out how to write down the secret code right now. The problem is that right after the live stream last week, the YouTube sent me a notice that said my link to the giveaway had been deleted from the video because it violated their policies. And that is not true. It does not, in fact, violate their policies. So I need to like put it back in the video and then complain to them about it, and file a, whatever they call it, petition or something to so I took it out of the video, so there's no link to the giveaway right now, but I will have to put it back at some point. So in the meantime, let me see what I can do here. What I can do is I can put the link to the giveaway back on my website, because they can't block my website. So let me do that really quick. And what is this called? IBC live stream giveaway at IBC. Sorry, this is not going to look great. And so what I'm going to do is give you a link to my, okay, I don't have a picture for it. I'm going to give you a link to my website page for IBC. This link here, click that. That will take you to the giveaway. And now YouTube only sees a link to my website, which is fine. So click that. That's a link to the giveaway. And there are 13 days left. We're going to announce in 2 weeks the winners. Actually, a good collection of prizes. The prizes are still exactly TBD, but they will be something from Axoon, OBSBot, Aperture, and YoloLive. And I'm going to now quickly add a secret code to it. So let's do that really quick. Did I already make the secret code? I did. And oh, here's the code. Great. There's already a placeholder for it. Now I just need to find somewhere to hide it. Didn't YouTube change the link policy and they're deleting links everywhere, or is it just for shorts? I think it's just for shorts. I got that email too. Apparently they're having problems with scams, which fair. But yeah, they took all the links out of shorts, but not for the rest of the videos. YouTube is ruining all the viewer benefits. It's true. So, okay, now you have the link to the giveaway. So let me put this secret code somewhere for you to find it. Let's put it there. Okay. I'm not going to show it to you right now, but I'll show it to you in the next 10 minutes. Oh, great point from Christopher. No confirmation of commands if you're faking a keyboard like you get with OSC or other API. Yes, exactly. It is frustrating that they do not seem to get the utility of Companion with a Stream Deck or tablet. I completely agree. So we need to convince the YoloLive to add an API to the YoloBox, especially now with the Ultra. So, okay, speaking of the Ultra, that is a very interesting update. YoloBox Ultra. Yes, there it is. New hardware from YoloLive. It is not released yet, but it is announced. And they had a prototype at the booth, but right now the prototype is only the hardware itself, and they haven't finished the software for it. So the hardware is similar to the YoloBox Pro, but it has 4 HDMI ins now instead of 3. And there's an extra USB port, and other than that, I believe it's about the same. It is quite a lot larger and a lot heavier. Also has a fan that makes a little bit more noise. So they are advertising a lot of features that everybody's asked for. So this is, again, going back to they all take the feedback into account, and they actually do update their products. They do firmware updates whenever they can, and they do hardware updates when they need to. So 4 HDMI in, ISO recording. Everybody's been asking for that. Network bonding, again, supports network bonding, but you can now support, for example, 2 USB modems. Much more powerful CPU, and it does actually support 4K, theoretically. We'll see how that works. And then the other thing that it does is it supports both vertical and horizontal. So it's interesting they advertise it as an 8-inch display, but it is physically larger than the Pro. So here, I'll just go over there and show you, because I brought it back. Let me go over to the table really quick. I didn't realize how late it is already. Gosh. Can YouTube even handle 4K streaming? Yeah, no, it totally can. It totally can. Photo Joseph has been streaming 4K to his YouTube channel for a long time. But okay, let's go over to the table, because I've already been talking for 45 minutes and we need to do some demos. So over here, we've got a few things on the table to talk about. Oh, I didn't realize that camera's been on the whole time. Hopefully the battery is doing okay. Got the new Hollyland Lark Pro. So thanks to Hollyland for sending that home with me from IBC. We can do a quick demo of that. But I do want to show you the YoloBox, since we were just talking about that, and just kind of give you a sense of the scale of this. So where's the Pro? Here we go. Actually, it's closer in size than I thought. Interesting. It's a little bit taller that way. It's almost exactly the same width. See, I have a overhead. So a little bit taller, same width, and it is thicker, and it feels a lot heavier. Like, I don't know how to communicate weight to you, but it definitely feels, it's chunky. But the cool thing about this, it does take a long time to boot up, so we're gonna let that boot up for a little while. The software on this is entirely like not the final software. So basically it's just like the beginnings of what they're gonna do with this. So I can't like demo the 4K or ISO recording because none of that software exists yet. But they did, it's basically YoloBox Pro software on the new hardware. So, well, this thing boot up. They did not commit to any particular date for when this is going to ship. Twitch supposedly can, but it's limited to partners. YouTube has no problems with 4K. Yeah. How does the CPU power compare between the YoloBox and Magewell? This maybe limit the firmware enhancements between the two Android devices. Absolutely. Oh gosh, now I can't remember. They don't list the specs on the Magewell site, but they did mention it at the booth, and I should have written it down. The YoloBox Pro CPU is a few years old. The Ultra has a much newer CPU. The Magewell device is, I don't remember if it's exactly the same CPU as in the Ultra, but it's definitely newer than the Pro. So I would expect to be able to see more things in the Magewell compared to the YoloBox Pro, but probably similar things in the Ultra and the Magewell, if that makes sense. Yeah, none of the software exists yet. If you can't demo some of the features, let's hear that fan noise. Yeah, okay, so here is the box, but I'm gonna hold it up to the camera or to the microphone. Can you hear it? It's definitely making a noise. So what I wanted to show you though was, what I wanted to show you, and I need to adjust my camera exposure apparently on, so you can actually see the screen, because this is the cool thing. There we go. No, a little more. So this is what you get when you boot it up, and you get 3 options. On the YoloBox, on the Pro, there's 2 options, but here's 3. Monitor mode, live streaming, and vertical streaming. So if you go to vertical streaming, then it looks like an in-stream. I don't have any things plugged in, so it's not terribly interesting. But this is what you get with the in-stream, is the little app spot for Instagram. I'm not logged in. And then like all your controls and overlays and stuff, and audio and that kind of stuff. If you go, I don't remember how to get out of here. No, how do I get out of, there we go. And if you go into here, then it looks like YoloBox Pro. The battery is low. It's true. So other weird problem is, for some reason right now, if you plug in the power, you cannot turn it off. I don't know why. If you plug in the power and shut it down, then it says, oh, I've got power, I'm gonna boot up. And it just is, you can't turn it off. So the only way to turn it off is to unplug the power, but that means I can't charge it while it's off. So yes, battery's low. Hopefully they fix that in the update, in the firmware update. Just like rotating the new ATEM. Yes. I hope they fix a lot of the things that Craft Computing pointed out. Oh yeah, that was interesting timing on that video. If you haven't seen it, it was an interesting video. It was basically a review of the YoloBox Pro, and he had a lot of complaints about it. And a lot of his complaints were fair, and I think that what he was trying to do with it is not exactly what it's for in some cases. So you're always going to have that kind of problem. Like if I tried to use the ATEM Mini on a bicycle, I would have a lot of complaints. So he also just missed a couple of things and didn't dive deep enough into the settings. So, but I do agree with some of the criticism for sure. And you all know my criticism too, like lack of external control. So maybe I should do a video response to his video. Isn't that an issue when using USB power delivery chargers? Is it? I don't know. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've plugged in a non-power delivery charger. The ATEM Mini works just fine on a bike or walking stream in your backpack with a deck saver and using the mix effect. I don't know if I would call that just fine, but you could make it work. What issues have been addressed by the new Ultra? Any issues resolved that Craft Computing pointed out? I see your comment on his video. Oh yeah, I did comment on his video. I forgot about that. The two things that he pointed out that were not correct was he was complaining about the HDMI out not being able to get a clean video feed. It's in the settings. It's just a setting that you choose. So, and I can't remember the other one, but it was also something like that. Does the Ultra take power delivery power? Because the Mini and the Pro don't. They only support QC3. I know the Pro doesn't. I thought the Mini did. Because I know the Pro doesn't even charge if you plug in like an Apple charger, which is weird. I don't know. I haven't done all the tests yet, but I don't want to do too much testing on the Ultra yet because there's not much point in it because the software is not at all final. Like it knows there's 4 HDMI inputs, but that's about it. And there's no like ISO or 4K or anything that's new. So yeah. Have they considered any APIs for the YoloBox so you could develop your own Android app that controls the hardware? I have mentioned it over and over and over again in my text messages to Frank, and every time I see him, which is I guess now twice, and I keep trying to point out the reasons why an API would be useful. Apparently he brought it up to the engineers at one point, and they didn't seem to understand it. They didn't agree, and they said, no, we're not going to do it. So we need to convince them more. Why'd they go with micro SD? That was the SIM card slot. That's not micro SD. It is so this is a full-size SD card, and then that's a SIM card slot. And then I guess it's mic and line input, headphone jack, charging USB-C for data, 2 USBs over here. I don't know what that is. I think it's a reset button maybe. And then the 4 HDMI outs and 1 in. Also, you might notice there's no labels because this is not the final product. They didn't do the screen printing on this case yet. I don't think it supports eSIM. I don't think so. That'd be kind of cool though. Would have been nice to see an SDI port or 2 on the YoloBox. Having to use external converters is a nuisance. I agree. External converters are really annoying. Yeah, SDI would be interesting. Okay, so, oh yeah, this is the charger you're using have only one thing plugged into it? Mine with multiple restarts charging on all the devices when plugging something in as it reallocates power. Yeah, my Anchor charger does that too. But no, this is just a one USB output, and it just, yeah, it's weird. Okay, Christopher is reminding me that I did want to talk about the Blackmagic Camera app. Thoughts on using the iPhone 15 with the new Blackmagic Camera app? So I do want to show some of the cool things about this camera app. Let me grab my USB cable, or HDMI, I guess. So Blackmagic Camera app is, we're gonna have to go and get my overhead back in the right spot. Ooh, that's way too dark now. Let's see. Yeah. So let's go back. There we go. The Blackmagic Camera app is available now for one. It's actually live. You can actually use it, and it is pretty nice, I will say. So this is like the vertical mode, which you can, it actually shoots horizontal in vertical mode, which is like a weird thing, but it's kind of cool. But it's meant to be used in horizontal mode. And it really does look like the Blackmagic Camera interface, which is great because the Blackmagic Camera interface is, in my opinion, one of the best camera interfaces, camera menu systems. And it is super cool. that this looks the same. So it's just so easy to change all the settings. Like there's the shutter speed. You can manually control the shutter speed. You can choose your frame rate right here. You can choose which of the 4 lenses on the phone, the wide, the telephoto, or even the front lens. The white balance auto, or you can set it manually. And you just get to nice, a nice little scrolly thing. It is a very nice app. But one of the things that they didn't mention with the camera app, like the whole point of this is that you record and then it goes and like uploads to the cloud, right? So you record and it uploads to your cloud projects. You can either upload proxies or full res or both. And then you just get to edit the video right in Resolve, which is cool. But one of the things they didn't mention is that in the settings here, there's a checkbox for HDMI clean feed. And that means that it does, in fact, have the HDMI out or wireless out is a clean feed. So that means this is probably now the best clean feed camera app out there. So let me go to the, show you this. Where did it go? Why is that button not work anymore? There it is. So the wireless camera, one of many cameras in my set is right. So the wireless camera for my phone, you can see this one I'm pointing around the room. That is from the Blackmagic Camera app, which sure, maybe it's not like anything super special because it just looks like a clean feed from a camera, but the nice thing is that you get to use the nice camera control. So if I go to change the white balance, it's the nice camera control app that you get from here, or change the shutter speed. And it is then just a very easy and nice interface for getting a wireless camera or wired camera out of the phone. And yes, as IT Never Gets Old points out, it is free. It is a free app, which is great. And right now I'm wired in. I'm wired into the HDMI, but it works exactly the same over AirPlay. So if I yank that out and then go and do screen mirroring to my Apple TV, which is a great way to do wireless feeds from a phone, then all of a sudden my Apple TV gets the wireless feed. So there's the wireless version of the feed. And technically this is going to be compressed over, because it's compressed over AirPlay, but it's still extremely good. So yeah, I don't know. I am very happy to have this option now of just open the Blackmagic Camera app. All the manual controls are right there. It's very easy to use. Also, notably, the audio is actually going over the AirPlay signal. I can see the audio levels in my meter, which is good. So and yes, Camera Head Studio is good timing on the question. This is exactly what this is for. So you need an app that supports clean HDMI out. And if it does, it'll work either wirelessly or wired. And not every app does this, but the Blackmagic Camera app thankfully does, which is great. Can you use camera control on it? This is, as far as I can tell, no. As far as I can tell, it's not possible to do that, which is too bad. It would be very cool. But the camera control, like over AirPlay, doesn't make any sense. And camera control over HDMI could work, but I don't think it's possible just because of the way that these apps see the external display. They're not like talking HDMI. They're just sending a picture to the operating system, which then sends it out either wirelessly or HDMI. So there's no opportunity for the app to like get signals back in from HDMI. So it's not quite the same. So I don't think we're going to ever see the camera control. And yes, Christopher, here is the multi-view. Another option is this, the NDI capture app into a Magewell decoder. That's another option, but I think the Blackmagic Camera app is now my favorite, going either wirelessly over AirPlay or the HDMI dongle option. It is a good way to add more cameras. Good to see you again, Motherbeat. Yes, camera control is not possible because Apple doesn't give the app access to the HDMI. Yeah, I think that's what I said. So oh, good question. If they add SDI, I assume this is about the YoloBox. Would you like to see a recess in a hole for safety or sticking out of the back? That's a good question. Because yeah, the SDI ports. If you look at this monitor, actually, this is a good example. This monitor that I have supports SDI and HDMI, right? So what they did is they gave it this little lip. So the SDI ports do stick out of the case, but then there's this lip so that this looks like the bottom from the front. And that way they're not entirely recessed, but they're recessed on one side, which is actually, I think, a nice way to do it. I don't know if this makes sense on the YoloBox though. Definitely an interesting case shape to do that. And then they made the HDMI ports sunken in also, which is kind of annoying because they're kind of hard to find from the front now. I wonder if our pals at Blackmagic will ever go back to having both SDI and HDMI inputs instead of using SDI, HDMI as a marketplace divider. I don't know. I don't know. Great contrast of UI experience. Blackmagic looking at a Sony. It's true. I will say the new Sony interface is not terrible. Oh, the battery just ran out, and I was about to show you that camera. I have to go run and grab another battery. I forgot I left it on, and it's set to stay on when it's got an HDMI plugged in. So, yeah, let's go to that really quick. You can see my messy room. Gotta grab the battery from the charging port. Charging wall. Having a wall of chargers is fantastic, by the way. Okay, so what I wanted to do though was, that's enough of the Blackmagic app. Let's get that out of here. And let's stop mirroring the screen. Give it a break. The other thing I wanted to show you was the Hollyland mic. So the this is the new Lark Pro, Hollyland Lark Pro, redesigned completely. So I took it all apart, but let's start over. So it actually comes in this little zipper case. And the nice thing about this zipper case is that all of the little accessories fit up here. So the wind muffs and all the little cables. So USB cable, lightning cable, charging cable, all fits up in that, which is great. And that is everything. So everything goes and packs up into here. The box itself is also a charging box, so USB in for charging, and then, like most of these now, open it up to reveal the two transmitters and the receiver. So at first glance, it looks similar to most of these things, and I think a lot of they've all been learning from each other, which is great because they get better and better every time. And this one I feel like it does it's a huge step up from their last version of the Lark. And just right off the bat, I just want to like, I wish I could show you what this feels like because it just feels so nice. It feels solid. It is like, this thing feels much more solid than even the Rode one does. It comes with a clip, and it also comes with a magnet. So 2 ways to attach it. This texture part is the same as the texture on the body here, top and the bottom. You can see how the sides are a different material. This is like a rubbery finish. So it's like, I don't know, and it feels nice and has a good weight to it. So I don't know, it's really nice. They give you a little cable to attach it to a camera as well. So I've got it here on the Sony. Sony camera really likes to accidentally turn on. And this is then wirelessly connected to my switcher, so I can show you what it does. So I wanted to give you a quick little sample of that too. So let's grab a microphone. The microphones also have internal recording, so I've now changed the mode to auto record. So as soon as I take it out, the record light turns on. This is just recording out internally, and it can store a ton internally. But let's give this a try really quick and switch over to this camera. I don't have my little handle on it, but where is this? So this is that camera, and let's switch microphones. Okay, so this is the audio. This audio is from this microphone. Now, keep in mind, it probably sounds very different from the overhead mic, but that's 2 reasons. One, it is a totally different kind of microphone, but also it's on my chest instead of out in front of me. And I think you're always going to get a better sound from microphones out in front of you, but sometimes you just can't do that, like while riding bicycles. So this is a huge improvement over the last version of the Hollyland Lark, and it is a, I think, great option now for one of these wireless microphones. Let me know what you think of the sound from this, though. I am curious to hear your thoughts. And back to the overhead. I guess just for comparison's sake, I am kind of curious how it compares to the RØDE Wireless Pro. This one I actually brought with me on the trip to NAB. IBC. Not NAB. That's the one I was just at. And didn't use it as much as I thought I would, because I actually was using the handheld microphone more for the interviews, and then I just did I think just the YOLO Live video I did with this one, but I was wearing a headset mic, so it wasn't a good test of the mic capsule itself. So the this one, big difference here is the RØDE comes with 2 cases. So one case is for all the accessories, and one case, but they do give you lav mics, which is nice. There's no lav mics in the Hollyland. The RØDE comes with the lav mics and then the charging case. Lav mics and windscreens and cables and all that. It's kind of silly to have 2 separate cases for it, but oh well. Let's swap this on the camera really quick and see how that goes. Okay, I'll go back to the comments in a second. So let's swap that receiver. Hopefully the levels on this are okay. How are my stickers doing on the glossy front plate? I had this in my pocket for a while walking around the floor, and it did slip once it got warm, but if it's not too warm, it actually sticks totally fine. Like it's not moving anywhere, but you can also take it off if you want. So I'll drop the link to those stickers in because those are unfortunately not going to happen for the Hollyland because there's nowhere to stick the stickers, but they are cool for the Rode. Okay, so let's get this on me. And go back. So we're going to switch over. So this is the Rode sound. This is the sound from the Rode Wireless Pro 2. There we go. Wireless Pro. No, not 2, just Wireless Pro. There we go. All these product names, man, get so confusing. Rode Wireless Pro. That is the microphone I'm using right now. I've got my own little sticker on it, branded sticker, which is, turns out actually a great idea when you're walking around the show floor, because then it means you have your own branding right up at the, near your face too. So good tip. I would recommend doing that in the future. But yeah, this is what the Rode sounds like. I am curious to hear what you think it sounds like compared to the Hollyland we just took a look at. But yeah, big difference between the Rode and the Hollyland though is that the Rode is 32-bit float recording. So obviously the wireless audio is all the same at the other end because it goes through the camera at the end of the day, but this mic capsule can record internally 32-bit float, which is super, super cool. Super great. And I wish everything would just support 32-bit float from here out. Basically, it means it's perfect for like interviews on the show floor when you're running around and not able to adjust your levels super well ahead of time. Or if you are going between like one person's holding their microphone in their face, one person's putting it on their chest, one person refuses to go anywhere near it and it stays like far away from them. Because you get more detail in every part of the audio that you can recover in editing software a lot better later. So that's the one downside of the Hollyland is no 32-bit float recording in those, but that is in the Rode Wireless Pro. So, okay, this is, it is a bit quieter. I did not adjust the levels well ahead of time. Sorry in advance. Not the most scientific test. Okay. For live, the auto gain of the Rode should also be pretty nifty. That is true. That is true. Frankie says the Rode sounds much better. But then Eric says the Hollyland sounds better. Zach says the Hollyland sounds better. Emerald says Hollyland is more chesty. And Scott says the Hollyland is much more muffled. Let's go back to the Hollyland really quick. Something just fell. Oh, my weird thing that's happening to my teleprompter. The glue that holds the Velcro to the teleprompter has decided to give up. Okay, here we go. Back on the Hollyland audio. This is definitely louder, sorry. This is the Hollyland Lark. What's the name of it? Lark Max. There we go. Max, Pro, 2, all these different ways of saying next version. Yes, internal mic capsules are always hard to judge. It's true. What about lavalier external mic connections? Yeah, so the Rode comes with lav mics. The Hollyland does not come with lav mics, but it does have a adapter or a plug for them. So you can plug in a mic into the transmitter if you want. And I think you'll get a better sound from, well, it's also nice to not have it on your chest, but you can get mics that are like headset mics, which is actually what I use at the YoloLive booth. Let me grab that really quick, because it is really cool. Where did I put it? I don't even remember where I got this from, but this is a little mic that goes around your ear. And then I got this thing so long. Oh, that's the wrong side. It's bending this way. So with this, I can go, oh, I'm transmitting from 2 Hollylands now, so that's probably why you're hearing some of the, let me mute this one. Can I mute it? I don't see, what's that? EQ. I don't see a mute button on the mic. Let's switch over. Let's mute this one. If I can figure it out. So somewhere in here. There we go. Mic 1. Now mic 1 is muted. There we go. So let's go plug in that and then switch the mic. So now I'm going to go from the chest one to the headset. How do I? There we go. Okay, so now we should be going only on the, we should be only hearing this one now. Yeah. Oh, that's probably not in sync because wireless. Now we're in sync. There we go. So this is the headset microphone. So still going through the Hollyland transmitter, but totally different microphone now, and it's closer to my face, obviously. So this actually did a very good job on the show floor, and I'm probably going to do this again next year because it means that I'm so much closer to the microphone and I don't have to hold it. So what I would love to do is find a way to get this and the handheld together into the camera, because I want to be on this mic and I want to put the handheld microphone in front of somebody. What I might have to end up doing is stick this on the end of a stick and put like a windscreen over it. And then I can shove that in someone's face, right? And then I've got the close-up for me and then shove that in somebody's face. So, headset for the win. Better than internal capsule mic or Hollyland or Rode. Yeah, not surprised. We've got a vote for the Rode, and another vote for the Rode, another vote for the Rode, and a vote for the Hollyland. So, more mids and a little more highs on the Hollyland. So, I think the room noise was when I had the double mic on. Sorry about that. So, the Rode does make a stick for theirs, so I might have to just do that. I can hear a fan on the Hollyland built-in. The headset's much better, and it seemed in sync. I heard you say EQ. Can you add EQ? Can you add a high-pass filter? Yeah. So there's a couple of EQ settings on it. Let me switch over to that. On the transmitter. So there's this for mic 1. Mic 1 is on. If I do that, it's going to turn on the EQ. But in order to actually see what the settings are, we have to go into the menu, which is, this is like touchscreen buttons are never as good as physical buttons. That one's a touchscreen button. This one's a physical button. I like that because I can tell that I've pressed it. Mic settings, mic gain, auto record, auto off. Nope, wrong one. It's in EQ. There it is. So here, I've got it set to vocal boost, and we can go low cut instead. So we get low cut, hi-fi, or vocal boost is the EQ options. So Frankie says the headset is better but sells unnecessary low end. So I'm curious now with the low cut, does this sound better? Gwen says I've done DJI mic on a stick and it worked great. Yeah, yep. I'm gonna have to do that probably. It's too bad because I really like the Sennheiser microphone. It sounds great, but it is kind of unwieldy with that big mic anyway. Neil says the Rode has locking connectors, right? It does, yeah. So if we look at the transmitter capsules on the new Rode, there's the little locking thread. So if you have this one, looks like is the opposite threading. So it's that one's not going to work. But if you get the, I think it's the Rode lav mic has the threads that screw into that. No locking connector on the Hollyland. So just a regular jack there. Low cut is much better. Good to know. That is great. Good to know. 820 feet transmitting distance would be nice on the next bike ride. I am very curious to put that to the test because the transmitting distance only is the transmitting distance in line of sight. And the problem with any of these is as soon as you put them in front of somebody, like the problem we had on the bike ride is Joseph was wearing this here, and if I'm behind him, then it has to go through his body to get the signal. So, yeah. The vocal boost would be good too if you can add low cut in the ATEM or whatever you're sending audio to. True, yeah. So let's try that really quick. Let's go back to. Oh my God, we're running way over time. Okay, we're gonna have to kill this stream soon. But let's do this really quick. EQ. Let's go back to vocal boost. So this should sound different, and then I can go into software and do some EQs there. So this is going into my mixer. So oops, I forgot to change my super source. So this is going into my mixer here, which is how you're hearing the audio. So this is where I can do some EQs. EQing here, oh, I can see a bunch of low. So let's see. I haven't done this on this mixer yet. There we go. Oh, it's a notch. I don't want the notch. Where's my low cut? There we go. That's what I want. Let's cut out, where are we at? 127? Maybe that sounds better. You can also do this in the ATEM, although I don't have it set up that way right now, but in the ATEM you can go into the audio tab. You can see I'm not using the audio from that. I guess I can switch it. Sure. Now we're hearing the audio through the ATEM instead of from my mixer. And here we can go and use this equalizer, which has also a low cut. So we can do that. And hopefully that sounds a little better too now. But yeah, if you are running the mic into an ATEM, you can use the EQ feature in the ATEM to try to tune the sound a bit. You sound closer with a vocal boost if we just get rid of the boominess. That's where the Sennheiser wins on a lower transmission frequency. I thought the Sennheiser I have is still 2.4 gigahertz. Now I'm not 100% sure though. Cool. Okay. Well, that was fun. What else? Oh, I went a little bit too far. This is what happens when I do EQ without listening to headphones. But yes, I can put it back. I can go. Yeah, I guess I did a little bit too far. I can see I went too far into the 200s. Okay, how about like that? The Lark Max is listed at B&H for 300. Isn't that the same price as the Rode? Anyway, they all seem to be hitting the same price point, which is interesting. Wireless Pro. 400 at B&H. Oh, now it says coming soon. Interesting. I bought this on August 29th and it showed up like 3 or 4 days later, so that was nice. But apparently now it's not in stock again. Yeah. Anyway, that was fun. So we should wrap this up because I gotta go. I have to go very soon. And why is that screen full screen? Oh, if you have time compared to the overhead, I think it'll be similar. Yeah, I can switch back to the overhead now. So let's switch back to, oh, right. Switch back now. So now we're on the overhead. I'll take that down so you don't get confused. Back to the overhead mic, which is how I normally have it set up here. CJB says, sorry, I went to the beach. That sounds like fun. Missed a good part of the stream, but I'll watch it later. Order the OC Ghost Stream deck. Looking forward to using it. Cool. I had a good conversation with them at the booth, actually, and gave them some of the feedback that I mentioned last week during the demo. And they also seem very interested in improving the products and doing updates to make them work better. So we'll see how that goes. It was nice to be able to chat with them again. Neil says, I bet the Rode mics work on longer distances. It seems they are blasting RF. On badly shielded cameras, it seems like they get bombarded. Interesting. Okay. I was wrong. It does not sound the same. Okay. Well, I don't know what it sounds like. I have not been listening on headphones, which is the problem with live streaming is that it's even with headphones, it's hard to tell what you actually sound like. Okay, before we wrap this up, let me see if there's anything else that I want to mention. Oh yeah, the OBSBot camera. So these are the HDMI auto tracking cameras. So this is the kit that they sent over right before the show. I used them on last week's stream if you're curious for a demo. I will do a better demo in a coming up stream about these properly and show how these work, but they are great. I'm so excited that there's an HDMI version of small auto tracking PTZs. They were at the show as well. They also were showing their NDI integration. So they had their booth set up with 3 of those cameras going over NDI into actually OBS. So they're talking about that integration now as well. And that's cool. Oh, other microphone that I saw at the show was Comica. They actually have a 4 transmitter kit. First time I've seen a 4 kit. So 4 wireless transmitters in the case, all going to the same receiver, which is kind of cool. Would have been useful for the backlight since we had more than 2 people. We talked about the vMix integration with Zoom. That is so cool. I have some video to show that I'll put in my recap video. The other, oh, there's some really interesting Kilo View products, which I'm hopefully going to get some of those in to try out and do a deeper dive and share with you because they have some really cool looking encoders and decoders as well. And yeah, I think that was about it I'm going to talk about without getting out my videos. So I am planning on doing like a recap video because I shot a bunch more footage than what I just posted already. So look for that coming out hopefully soon, hopefully this week. What did OC say about companion and remote control? They seemed much more receptive to the idea. I think they were also confused about exactly how to do it or how companion and the Stream Deck fit into the ecosystem, but they seemed much more receptive. So I'm going to keep working with them and talking with them about that feature and a couple other things as well. So cross your fingers. Alonzo says, it was nice finally meeting you at IBC. Hope the YoloBox Ultra will be out soon. Yeah, nice meeting you as well. It was super awesome. I met so many of you there. It was great. I'm glad I could make it. And hopefully I can make it again next year. And maybe some of you will be at NAB in the US in the spring. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh, speaking of, I was 2 subscribers away from 35K when we started the stream. Did we hit 35K while streaming? No. Oh my gosh. Okay. I know some of you who are watching this have not subscribed. If one of you subscribes, then I will be at 35K. So I just need one of you right now to click subscribe. And then we'll hit that amazing milestone. I know somebody who is watching this is not subscribed. There we go. We did it. Thank you so much. Look at that. Whoever that was, thank you. I appreciate it. What a great way to end the stream. So with that, we will wrap this up. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for the member support. Great to see all the members in the chat and some of you in person. Members are watching behind the scenes version of this show right now. I went live on the members only stream about 30 minutes ahead of time today to set things up and try things out. So that's one of the perks of being a member of the channel. There's also a members only Discord where we can chat throughout the week, and I've been posting updates from the show throughout the week as well. So yeah, thank you everybody. Thanks for all the support, and I really appreciate it. And yeah, congratulations everybody. 35K, look at that. Party on, congratulations. We do want to see him in the shiny jacket again. Well, at the very least, there'll be a New Year's stream, but maybe I'll do it for the giveaway stream too. Thanks for all the support, everybody. Thank you. The secret code has been on the stream now at some point in the last, I want to say, hour or so now, 45 minutes maybe. The secret code was shared on the stream, so hopefully you found it. Again, the giveaway link, it's in the chat, but I'll drop it into the video description as well. And it'll be 2 weeks before I'm able to announce the winners. With that, thank you all so much, and I will see you again next time.